Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Market Check. We couldn't get the whole cast and crew for a lot of people on vacation for ape time, so we're deciding to bring you guys an unexpected edition of Market Check today. But happy Thursday. Welcome to today's show. We're going to hope to cook you guys up some alpha, talking about the market. I mean, after all, speaking of markets, it's kind of ETH's market, and we're all just living in it. We'll talk about it on today's stream. But I'm Snorlax. You also know me as Tommy. I'm joined by Max and our dev Ed. What's up? We're gonna have a great show for you guys today. And yeah, I feel like I have to start off by talking about ETH. Realistically, though, before I can do like a whole monologue on the ETH strength here, what's potentially coming for crypto over the next few weeks, I'm going to need you guys to hit the like button. I genuinely, I'll be honest, I haven't checked the like button on the last few market check streams. And so maybe it's partially on me for for the like button not being properly smashed, but let's run it up today, right? Because ETH it gave us a very kind of an aggressive leverage flush yesterday, less so on ETH, more so on some higher beta altcoins, but it has now recovered. So you're going to want to hear the alpha that we're cooking up today. Back above prices not seen since yesterday. But yeah, we always appreciate when you guys hit the like button for us. Of course, you help us continue to bring you this content throughout the week. Let's talk about the market, though. Bitcoin, again, we've seen this slate from the market fairly frequently over the last few weeks where Bitcoin is bouncing. It's ranging. It's basically within a 2 or 3 week compression at this point. We're literally just stacking consolidation on top of consolidation on top of consolidation. But every time Bitcoin's hitting range lows, ETH is finding a local bottom. And then we're beginning to see we see ETH bounce back much more aggressively than we have with Bitcoin. I think this is just kind of a natural process as we see ETH price itself back towards all-time highs, because Bitcoin is 100% above all-time or above last cycle's all-time highs, and ETH is still I want to say like 30, 35, 40% below all-time highs from last cycle. So we are slowly seeing these things, I think, in motion. Are we looking at a more aggressive pump over the next few weeks? I guess that's TBD. Are we going to see ETH range at 4K? I think these are questions that we obviously have for the market, but one thing that you cannot deny on a lower time frame is that the appetite to bid ETH remains very, very strong. And I think it's strong in a way that has made beta really kind of struggle to see the same verticality. But to me, that kind of signals the potential here for, okay, well, if ETH is still suctioning liquidity, maybe it still has higher to trend. We'll see what we get, obviously, over the next few weeks. But I did kind of want to highlight something that we haven't talked about, and that I feel like nobody is talking about outside of a small handful of people, is we have a White House report coming out about crypto at the end of this month on July 30th. And yet you don't really see any rhetoric around what it's going to be about, which I think is a good thing, right? Because we're used to seeing whenever the White House or whenever Trump is supposedly going to talk about crypto, it's usually a big nothing burger. The market positions long, and then when it's over, the market rinses out all the longs. But right now we're not seeing anybody talk about these things. The market, sure, it's a little bit frothy, especially as far as altcoin open interest goes. But I do think the positioning is a little bit different than what we typically see going into these things. So we will see if that has a large impact on Bitcoin, ETH, altcoins. But as long as Bitcoin's holding above 115, 116K, we're probably just going to continue to see this environment where every time Bitcoin trades to range lows, ETH is going to bounce back much more strongly. And if ETH is going to trend continuously from here, we're likely to see beta, I think, continue to struggle until it's done. But then when it's done, the higher it is, we'll likely see some even larger reversion from the beta. So I feel like that's what I'm seeing from crypto right now. There's just not that much to talk about with equities, so I won't really touch on it right now. But how are we doing, guys? What are we thinking about the market today, July 24th? God, I cannot believe it's almost August of this year. What are we thinking about the market here? What are we thinking about the crypto White House report, and obviously everything else in between?
Well, You had mentioned before we got on stream to look at this. Is this what you're telling me to look at, Tommy? Was this?
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was. I see it. I really like the similarity in the bottoms. Obviously, little discrepancies like, Pepe ran these highs and then had a more aggressive sell off to kind of puke into the low, right? But, I see it. But yeah, I thought that'd be a fun way to start the show because you told me before you're like, look at the comparison between Pepe last year and Per. I was like, all right, I'll take a look at it. Fun fractal to start the show.
It's pretty
yeah,
accurate as far as time goes too. Length of consolidation, because I think that's important to take into account too when you're talking about something like this. I want to say Pepe was in this consolidation for like 8 or 9 months, and I think Per has been in there for about 8 months. So it's been incubating almost the exact same amount of time.
So what I'm hearing is Per is the next Pepe.
I'm bullish on cat coins to a fault, probably some
Pepe
would say.
is the next Pepe. Okay.
Sacrilegious.
I mean, that ain't bad. Obviously fractals are never 1-to-1, but that's not bad. I see it. Per has been stubborn though. I will say that Per has been very, very boring, which might be kind of a perfect catalyst to actually send it higher. If we were to look at like, I mean, I think really what it's waiting for is just hype to finally mark up, which, hype's been fine, but it hasn't really done too much recently.
Yeah.
But I think
hype is kind of like a trader's dream. I was looking at it yesterday. I'm not like a trend line drawer, but if you draw them across the highs, if you draw them even more recently in the consolidation that we've been painting, right? It's kind of been flagging. It's kind of like a TA trader's dream in a way. And I kind of feel like they swept this morning. They went after kind of taking out, like, if you were long yesterday, you probably did it on the premise of it's a bull flag, right? You're expecting it to break higher. They swept those lows out today, possibly reclaiming the bull flag. I think hype is going to send over the next few months. I really do think that this is not it doesn't look distributive anymore.
No,
I was a little worried.
Here's what
we made high, but
here's what we were talking about a while back is that there was a potential head and shoulders pattern. Oh,
my bad. Here you go.
You're good. I was like, where'd my screen go? There was a potential like head and shoulders forming here. And we said, look, in a bull market, if you get a failed head and shoulders breakdown and you get back above the neckline, it can be an incredibly bullish expansion from there. So we haven't truly expanded. I mean, we kind of did, right? We went from 40 to, basically 50. But I think this is just your kind of textbook retest of that shoulder. And from here, when hype finally gets back on the horse, it's probably going up here to $80. And I think if Per doesn't move during that window, then it's not really going to move. That should be your window to hear the cat purr, that should be it. So there's nothing bearish about this structure. Like, this feels like a failed head and shoulders potential breakdown into like vertical accumulation. Honestly, I feel underweight to hype, and I'm just hoping that Per manages to, save my relative underexposure. So what I also like about Per is if you look at the pair chart, you can see that we came back perfectly to the range low here and are trying to hold, right? So I think that there's a really solid case to be made for this pair chart having some legs, right? This is, again, so for those that don't know what we're looking at here, if this chart's moving up, per is outperforming hype. If it's moving down, hype is outperforming per. This is kind of a similar concept to how I'll chart like Andy Pepe or like Pepe ETH or something like that. It's the same thing. It's just per divided by hype. It's just beta alpha, really simple. But I really appreciate that when we came down to this range low, you can see that buyers have stepped in here very, very clearly. So I think if you don't own per and you wanted to, and you think the market's going to be risk on here, which we're going to get into, I think, why you should think that. If this were to trade back to range highs, this would be a 4.5x against hype. So if hype pulls a 2x and per hype pulls a 4x, you have an 8x for per USD, right? I think that's how you should be looking at it generally. Is this is a range, I'm bidding range low, hype is going to go up, crypto is going to go up. This could be a really interesting pair chart, personally.
I think it is. I have a personal target of $2 for per. Somewhat indiscriminate of time, but I think based on what you just laid out, Max, it makes sense for hype to go a good bit higher from here. Like this is a vertical accumulation structure. At least to me, it looks increasingly like that, rather than distribution. Before we made the recent high, I was a little bit more skeptical. Maybe we have a little bit more drawn out consolidation on it, but now I think it's only a matter of time before we see hype make its next move higher. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I do know when it goes higher, I have a gut feeling it will be because they announce a season 3 of points, or maybe just an airdrop altogether. Who knows? For the EVM. And if that's the case, there is only one obvious coin to buy on the EVM, and that is per.
And this is inverted here, guys. This doesn't look very good to me. This looks like inverted. Like this looks like you're about to just, Burj Khalifa down,
Yeah.
Like it looks like this is a really prolonged shoulder and you're just gonna Burj Khalifa straight to the gulag. All right. But yeah, I agree with you. I definitely agree. I mean, I hold a decent bit, not a ton, but I hold enough.
I don't hold any, and I think I'm going to after this because it's a pretty good thesis there. I like that.
The pair charts have me excited. Oh, Dev.
Yeah, I just want to quickly share this about hype. I know you said there's like the whole like trend line thing. I think there's room for trend lines. I think a good trend line can still have a good play at hand, and this is kind of what I've drawn, right? So if you ignore all this mess right here and just focus on this bottom one, and it's just basically looking at its overall consolidation that it broke out of, I always like to do this thing where I extend that bottom trend line all the way across, because I've always just found that even though this is its initial consolidation, it still enacts as support. And when you look at that bottom wick, it bounced right off of it. And currently, right, the candle hasn't closed, but it's sitting on top of that, like top of the head, right? Like Max, you mentioned, like it was like the head and shoulders. So it is enacting as like this really strong support. And so I kind of see this right here as like the ultimatum, like it has to make it here. I do think that if we were to start breaking down below, we could see this as resistance and make lows. But with all the stuff you mentioned, and plus Bitcoin honestly looks really good, I don't really see that being the case. And I do think that this is going to, break out essentially. And so it does have me pretty bullish on something like per as well, right? Because it is an EVM based token. So if this goes up, naturally per would go up as well.
Yeah, that structure is not bearish. That's not very. You got some crazy trend lines on there, Ed. That's
I'm a trend line trader, man. I love my trend lines, man.
I think you can still do it, for sure. I was more making the comment because I know when I watch the structure on Hyperliquid, I know probably a lot of traders have that bull flag, at least on the last like 1 to 2 weeks of consolidation it's been put in. And I think they they went after their long stops over the last like 24 hours and took them out of the market.
Yeah, I think there's a right way to do trend lines and there's a wrong way to do trend lines. If like the normie trend line, it would be to like once it converges and it breaks out of that initial trend line, and that's what you expect it to be like, all right, here we go, we're running, then you're probably doing it wrong. But that's why I don't know, I've been versed in the trend line technical analysis for the last 7-8 years. So I've seen what those failed breakouts look like, and I've used those trend lines to my advantage, right? So that's why I kind of extend that bottom range to enact the support. It's almost like my version of like an EMA or something, but yeah.
What do we think about this ETH move, guys? Like, just looking at it here, we took out all these highs, right? Like, all these highs just got obliterated, right? Do we think we're just going to kind of backfill this in a little bit after, this break of structure and then probably continue higher? Like, what are you guys thinking?
Probably
I think you
backfill
nailed
some of
it.
the move.
Yeah.
Backfill some of the move and then go higher. I'm thinking.
Yeah, naturally, I think it's just got to fill it in and move right back up. Just low enough to where it gets people a little scared, but not too low where it breaks structure. So
yesterday was a scary day for the leverage bros. I will say I'm impressed by the buyback that we're seeing on ETH specifically. I don't think it's just the short squeeze. I think there's still a very real and tangible demand for ETH at this price point. And I think it's likely to continue suctioning liquidity until, maybe until you get an all-time high breakout, which it feels like it's not that far away. I'm just not sure. Are we going to see us kind of slow grind into 4K and then consolidate for a second? And by a second, I mean probably like a few months. Or are we going to see it just gap through 4K, possibly all the way up to 5K before? Eventually we'll get like a really aggressive retest of 4K probably. But from higher, I think there's realistically two scenarios that make sense to me. And those are probably the ones, but neither of them are really that bearish.
Congratulations, Micro Sailor. That's great news. Look, I look at this this liquidation profile up in here, and we're just doing like a little bracketing right here, and the amount of liquidations that we have between 4,500 and 4,100 is insane. Like this cluster up here, guys. Wild, absolutely wild, right up in here. And these go all the way back to, it's this cluster above all the highs. These go way, way, way back into here, right? We have so much to be taken out up top here. If we can manage to squeeze up into this level, this kind of ramp probably sends the beta. Like this was the ETH markup. This will be, ETH's going to really perform well, but like that is going to be what, just shoots your beta to the moon is taking out this cluster right up in here. And I also, I have this example for Pepe that I was talking about this morning. We're seeing exactly what we've seen in the past for Bitcoin, ETH, and Pepe. I talked about this on our Discord call, and I actually made a subscriber-only tweet, a very rare subscriber-only tweet. As a KOL, I do that once in a while as a niche internet micro celebrity. But what we're seeing right now is not uncommon at all. So like people will always ask like, oh, like Max, Pepe is not moving. Like, why is Pepe not moving? What's going on? I'm like, yeah, trust me. Nobody's more annoyed with it than me. Trust me. Like I'm in the top 5 of people that are annoyed with the price action here locally. But I understand the mechanics in which really move this market. So yes, I can be frustrated, but ultimately, like I stay grounded knowing what's actually causing this. So if we look back here, this was Q1 like January, February, March of 2024, what you see here is really clear. Bitcoin was chopping and moving sideways. It's in that orange box right here. ETH marked up from 2,700 to 3,200. It was like a 20% move or something, pretty close. Okay, 16% move, right? While Bitcoin was literally flatlined, kind of like it is right now. And during that same time, in red down here, you can see that Pepe was chopping and actually bleeding while ETH was going up dramatically and Bitcoin was chopping. Your beta always waits for absolute confirmation from the king. ETH is not the king, okay? ETH is kind of an unfortunate relative of the like a popper, or like, I don't know. He's in the royal family kinda, but not really, just because he was born into it and he was early, you know what I mean? But like Bitcoin flatlines, ETH moves up. Nobody trusts the ETH move, and for good reason. Your beta only sends when ETH is pumping and it's also joined by Bitcoin. Okay. That's the conditions that are necessary. You don't see Bitcoin flatlining or bleeding and ETH pumping and beta joining. You might see little spurts, but you don't get the big moves, right? The ones we're really talking about. So again, Q1 last year, Bitcoin flatline, did nothing from February 14th to February 26th, 2 weeks of nothing. Then Bitcoin joined the party. During that same window, 2 weeks, ETH went up 16%. Pepe did nothing, chopping, bleeding, destroying everybody. Then Bitcoin joins the party. ETH continues on its merry way. Your beta flies. What are we seeing right now? Bitcoin is flatline, doing nothing. ETH is up like 20% during the Bitcoin flatline. Pepe chopping, bleeding, doing nothing, frustrating everybody. It's the same exact thing. So it's not necessarily something that I view as concrete where I say we're going to mark up definitively. I really do think that, but I'm not going to say it like that. Well, I kind of do. But let me put it this way. If Bitcoin joins the party and marks up from this flat line, and ETH continues on its merry way, that is when the move begins. All right. That is when your beta flies, not when ETH in an isolated fashion moves on its own, because that's what's been happening. ETH has really been moving without any help from Bitcoin, which is fine. It had a lot of ground to make up. But I'm just telling you, like, to answer the question point blank, provided with a visual here, because a picture is worth 1,000 words. When Bitcoin joins the party is when Pepe starts ripping. It can't just rip with ETH alone. It needs Bitcoin as that final confirmation of the whole asset class is going risk on, not just ETH and a couple other L1s, right? You want the rising tide that lifts all ships. That's driven by Bitcoin, and Bitcoin can underperform ETH. Furthermore, that would be a great thing, is if we saw Bitcoin leave this flat line, mark up to new highs and start ripping, but actually Bitcoin dominance drops. That would actually be a great thing. So it's like, we don't need Bitcoin to outperform. We just need Bitcoin to join the party. It's really quite simple.
There's a question to be had about that. What price would Bitcoin have to go for the rest of the market to start moving, right? Because we did see Bitcoin jump up from its like circa 100, 110 range up to where it's at now, close to that 120, 121. So there was that belief for a long time that once it hit roughly around where it's at now, that the rest of the market would move. Well, we're here now. Bitcoin's still consolidating, looking to make its next move up. But at what point does the rest of the market keep up after that, right? Like, what's the target price for that? I know we talk about dominance, but what does that translate to on price?
I don't think it's as price dependent. Well, right now I could just tell you probably above 120, right? But I don't think it's like we go to 120 and we start ripping. I think it's Bitcoin needs to be trending upwards, right? It's more about which direction we're heading, because right now Bitcoin is flatlined. It's not moving anywhere. It's ping-ponging in a tight little value, just destroying everybody. So it's not like we're going to hit 120 and then suddenly like they turn the algos on and we start flying. We just need Bitcoin moving up. We need Bitcoin moving up with ETH moving up more, and then we're ripping, right? All you need is Bitcoin actually doing something, and then we're good to go. But I think to answer your question again more directly, if you could get Bitcoin over 120, you're probably, I mean, from there, I don't really see a reason to send it much lower. Like, I think we'd probably just start sending. Like, I think if you get 120 on Bitcoin, 130 is coming pretty quickly, personally.
Yeah.
What do you think, Tommy?
No, I agree. I think you're absolutely right in the sense that the market kind of not only needs ETH to stop suctioning so much liquidity, but also does need Bitcoin to go risk on as well. And I think it will. You kind of have like the perfect reasoning to go risk on potentially into the end of the month, not just because of the crypto report from the White House, but also, there are the rumors about Jerome Powell not resigning, but there might be a rate cut at this Fed meeting. I don't know what the market's pricing, but I think that should be something that we increasingly discuss as a possibility, because I feel as though people are viewing the macro too much. God, I hate talking about the macro. I think people are viewing the macro too much from the standpoint about what the Fed, Treasury, and administration should do, and not about what they are actually communicating that they are going to be doing, which clearly doesn't really care as much for the inflation mandate. They're going to try to grow their way out of it. We'll see if that works out. But at the very least, if what they're saying they're going to do is what they actually do, and for all intents and purposes, that's exactly what's happened since the inauguration, we should see risk assets continue to move higher.
What are you expecting out of that White House report?
I don't know. I really don't know. I kind of feel like it's going to be pretty bullish, though, because Eric Trump is victory lapping. He told you to buy ETH. I highly doubt that they're not going to do anything with ETH. I kind of feel like it's going to be specifically really bullish for Ethereum, but I don't have any basis on why that is other than just gut feeling.
Okay, so let's have a little fun with this here, because I want to timestamp this out just a little bit. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put Eric Trump's tweets over the chart. So here's tweet one.
Can we not do that?
We have to do that. I can't get my trading view to load. Dude, I've been having a lot of trading view issues recently. Look at, and then it like doesn't. It's so annoying. It's so annoying. I don't know. Let's try a new one here. All right, let's try this one more time, because this will be, there we go. All right. So Eric said to buy ETH here.
We should probably put a line around that.
So Eric said to buy ETH right here. So yeah, it's decent, right? You're up. You told you to buy somewhere in here. Little whatever. It's crypto, right? Like, we've all had calls a little too early, right? He's not alone. But then he came out and he put this tweet out the other day, basically claiming victory. It was a picture of a minion from the Minions movie doing the mic drop. Is there any signal in his tweets here, or is it just kind of random? I mean, I get the, now we're up, right? I don't know exactly where in here. Let's just say it was 2,700, right? So right now it's up 37% roughly. That's good. Is this then a top on ETH? Does it matter at all? He says to buy, we get a little dip. Or maybe he's too early with the bragging call also, and we go up more. And then we do this, I don't know.
I mean, that would, for one, if we Christmas tree, that would just be so awful. I don't even want
to. I'm rebranding the company to Because Golf, and I'll be selling golf lessons. Buy 9, get the 10th free.
I'm screenshotting this right now, Max, and I'm posting it to X.
Dude, classic KOL, Tommy. You're learning quickly.
No, I really feel as though ETH is about to do one of two things, which is you're probably going to know what that is within 1 or 2 weeks. I think we're either going to slow grind into 4K, maybe a little bit above it, chop around there for multiple months, and you more so get your huge bull trend in 2026, or maybe you get some really bullish news here into the end of the month, you gap to like 5K, and then at some point later this quarter, you're going to retest 4K from above. So I kind of am thinking one of those two scenarios for ETH is coming.
Unfortunately, it's probably the latter. Like,
unfortunately,
I hate it. No, I hate it when you said we'll chop for the next couple of months. And whenever you think about the worst thing happening, it's always the most likely. And I'm thinking about it now. I'm like, when does the market usually pump? At least when do we get a bull run? And it's usually around that January to February range. And as much as I like ETH here, I wouldn't discount that as being a possibility with ETH chopping around for like the next 6 months. Just enough to get like less sellers, more seller exhaustion and people are just out of the market, and then eventually we rally. But I just hate that idea.
So let me play with this idea for just a second, okay? Ed, allow me to convey to you why you are wrong and we're going to the moon, and then
I hope I'm wrong.
Allow me. Now listen. This is one giant range right here. Specifically, I'm talking about this right here, the black range, okay? I'll just even highlight it so it's super clear to the audience here, okay? This right here is our ETH range. I don't like that color. We're going to change that a little bit. We are going to do blue, okay? This is our range right here. So, yes, we're in like a giant range that we've been in since 2021 with mega supply, the Great Wall of Supply overhead, mega supply. By the way, there's a special place in hell for the 4K ETH sellers. I promise you that. But this is your range right here. Range right here. Something that's so distinct about this range is this move right here. Okay, it was this move down here. This deviation. This deviation changes everything for me. And I'll explain to you why. Ranges love symmetry. Okay. Let me give you a prime example of some symmetry. This was a range over here. Swing high to swing low. What we saw here was another prime example, but the opposite, where we saw a deviation of your range high met with an overshoot deviation of your range low. That was the bear market bottom. Ranges strive for symmetry. So when I look at this range, I say we're doing the exact opposite of this, where we took out the low of the range first, and now we're going to overshoot to the high. All right. So something like this, I think, should be expected from here, where, it's not going to be perfect, but like just understand like down and that we should be putting in a symmetrical deviation to the top side. Okay. So I think if there is going to be any scammery, truthfully, I think what you do is you sweep the all-time high first, right up in here. I think you sweep the all-time high and then spend a couple of months dinking around between, 4,900 and 4,100 because of the significance of this overshoot. It's like a slingshot. It's like a rubber band. It's like you pull it back, you snap it forward, and you get like a push to the other side, right? There's a reflexivity to these moves. The market it respects physics. It's like we get an overshoot one way, we're going to get an overshoot the other way. It happens a lot more than it doesn't. So I think that this deviation we had, this overshoot in March, is going to cause us to probably actually blast through 4K. I'm sure we'll stop at it briefly, but I think there's definitely a case to be made for the scammery actually have, like, everybody wants to sell here for the inevitable scam. But what if the inevitable scam is here? So everyone fades here. We get fuel for liquidations. We go higher. And then they're already buying back in here when we're just about to start scamming for a little bit. That's my thought, right? That's my thought.
You know, and I kind of agree with that. Let me actually share a little chart here really quickly. As we're talking about, like, will Ethereum come back down to that like previous weekly candle and, you know, maybe try to, I think now that I'm thinking about it, a lot of people are expecting that, right? And so I'm looking at this lower support line from, you know, circa 22 all the way over to 2025 as of recent as of February. And this was for the longest time a support structure that Ethereum respected until it broke down prior to that. And then since then, we've had such a huge impulse move up. Well, like I've said before, like when you extend these bottom trend lines, they still kind of enact as support, similar to what we saw with Hype, right? You can see that it still kind of played off that range. I'm thinking now too, like that actually would make a lot of sense that we don't get down to that price range, and maybe we do get somewhat of an impulse move upwards, and then, like you said, range above here. Now that would be the most unlikely.
And Ed, do me a favor here. So you have this nice line drawn. You could probably draw like an upper trend line for like a channel or something like that. I feel like because we lost that trend, something like that. Yeah. Some type of, there's a million different compressions we could draw here. I feel like the scammery is going to happen higher than here. You know, the scammery is coming, but I think it's going to be up there after my beta flies. And also, I just want to show you guys something really tragic that just happened. So Hulk Hogan has just died.
Yeah.
No. Wow.
R.I.P. to a legend.
First Aussie, then Hulk Hogan.
That's crazy, bro. Hulk is gone.
Rip a legend.
Tucker would be devastated if he were here today.
Dude.
A true American patriot.
Damn. Well, damn.
In his honor, we have to pump.
Yeah, we have to pump now. All right, Ed, you're back on the screen. I just had to let everybody know that tragic news.
Well, on that note, up only, you know, only way. I can't give no bearish news after that, you know, that's wouldn't be right.
It wouldn't be right. It would be very wrong, but
I'm trying to see what other technical analysis I have from like months ago and to see where it kind of holds. I mean, same concept here with Pepe, a little bit of a extended lower wedge. We had a breakout, failed swing. I mean, like you said, I think Ethereum, for the most part, you know, once we see Bitcoin move above and then Ethereum starts to, you know, make higher highs, for the most part, they're all following the same structure, right? Like same concept, right? Where they did end up breaking down. They're all ranging in that previous all-time high, or at least nearing. And then we're getting ready for something big here pretty soon.
Yeah.
I mean, really, like, I know Eric Trump has been a little early on his calls, but or maybe late on his calls, depending on how you see it. But he's still earlier than the masses. Like, if you still think about it, like the majority hasn't came into crypto. I haven't seen it on my normie feed yet. I haven't had relatives spam me with messages outside of like XRP.
What is it about XRP, bro, that just gets the normie riled up, you know? There's nothing the normie likes more than centralized crypto tokens, man. They just love it. 589, baby.
Wait, let's switch that back.
Did you know that Brad only follows 589 people? Telling us.
Let's see that. Let's see. I drew this like years ago. It's still kind of withholding that.
It's definitely holding.
I mean, this is it's such a clean like just a trend line trader coin, you know? Like if you would have like just simply looked at the bottom range of this, like you could have easily traded this up until like the last like 2 years when it started chopping like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I look at it now and it's just like this is a clean break from its long-standing like 7-year consolidation. I hate, you know, like you can hate it, but it's like this thing's gonna go higher for sure. Like I could see this hitting like that $8 to $10 range pretty soon. You know, the normies rally behind it, you know. I don't know.
Honestly, I'm totally on board with Jackus's XRP thesis at this point. Like I'm not gonna play it myself, but yeah, it is like the normie coin that you buy because it sounds like it's a really strong fundamental coin. It has like a very easily explainable thesis, which doesn't even actually make sense if you are in crypto. But to a normie who doesn't understand crypto, it's like the light bulb goes off and it's like, wow, I just found the next Bitcoin.
The next Bitcoin.
In a way, XRP is like the original meme coin.
You know, I'm only highlighting this because I haven't seen this kind of talk since like 2017. I remember people used to make numbers, throw out numbers like it's going to $100 and never went to $100.
Just one more sweep of the lows, guys. Don't worry.
You know, maybe we're looking at it wrong. We're thinking Ethereum's going to be the catalyst that propels the rest of the market up, right? But there was a time before Ethereum, that coin was XRP. Like what what if XRP is the leader of this market and then with the rest of it moves after the fact?
Let me be super clear, okay? I don't care what has to happen. Send Pepe to like 50 billion. I don't care if you have to send Donkey Coin first. I don't care. Whatever it is, like XRP, Arbitrum, I don't know, Polkadot. I don't like send whatever needs to be sent. Just send my bags, hashtag my bags much higher. And if XRP is going to be that thing, that's fine. That is fine. I'm cool with it. That's great. I just need Pepe at 50 billion. The prophecy must be fulfilled. The prophecy was outlined many, many moons ago. Speaking of moons, Tommy, any astrology for us?
Well, I think we had the new moon today, which was supposed to be bearish, but we probably kind of front ran that yesterday a little bit. No, there's some bearish astrology closer to September, but nothing that I'm watching for right now. I guess it's technically Mercury retrograde, but the market has not been respecting that this time around.
So here's our BB moon cycles indicator. Looks like it's been kind of a mixed basket, honestly. I don't know if there's a lot of signal in this since the lows over here. We've had some pretty bullish ones. Like this was a pretty bullish one. Then this one was bearish. This one was kind of bullish. I don't know. I don't know if there's a whole lot of clear and obvious signal here, being honest, but
we have Mercury retrograde coming up. When is that? I thought we were already in it. Yeah, we've been in it for like a week. It's usually not good for tech when we're in Mercury retrograde.
Well, here's what I will say. All that aside, I'm going to show you the pinch that is going on right here. Okay. So this is our BB VWAP squeeze indicator, guys. Just think of it as like Bollinger Bands, but with a VWAP. Okay. So the middle line is a 7-day rolling. And then the upper red cloud and then bottom green one are just +2, +2, +3, -2, -3 standard deviation bands. And when you get these pinches here, like these compressions, you typically get some vol expansion out of it. Like this, right? And here it actually has an automatic function that will show you and highlight the volatility squeezes. So you can see here very clearly when we've had these pinches, what's happened in the past. So there is a vol compression that's happening right before us, like right here, right now. So I don't know. Kind of looks like we're in this giant orange compression right here.
Mm-hmm.
Big move is brewing, guys. That's what this is telling me, is that a big move is brewing.
Weekend pump incoming.
And when I throw on a visible range volume profile, you can see the amount of volume that's come in right in here. I mean, this is your point of control for this little region. We got a nice little shelf here, ladies and gentlemen. We got a nice little volume shelf right here. This should be a launch pad, right? We're seeing this vol compression, nice little shelf below us. You should see a markup from here. You really should. It should be as simple as a move like this. It really should just be an absolute launcher, you know, something like this. I guess time will tell. See which way we break.
Go back to November of 2020. That's how I feel where we're at currently, right? Like we had broken its previous high, or at least we were sitting here near it, and then Bitcoin just shot up for the next couple of months.
November of 2020. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, like right there. Smack dab in the middle. It's one right after that. Yep, right there. That's it right there. Not the one before that.
You think like right here?
Yep. Like the one after that, actually, like the big,
this
almost looking like a double top. I remember that very clearly. Like similar sentiment to now. Like the normie market hadn't come in yet. It was kind of printing what looked like a double top, or we potentially would have consolidated for an extended period of time, but it didn't do that. It just shot right up. It kept going.
I remember this one was tough to watch because it was stuck under the previous all-time high. Like here's your 2017 all-time high. And this range you were talking about happened right underneath that. I remember this was like during COVID, or like just after COVID, we were still feeling it. Everyone's like, why? No one's even working. The economy shut down. Why would Bitcoin? This was it. You're going to reject here. And then it just boom, you know, but.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about the sentiments today, like people are talking about like the tariffs and like the job market and all these catalysts that are supposed to suppress it, but we're still going up, you know. I'm of the assumption that those are distractions and not actual like catalyst, right? So I'm kind of like inverse Tommy here, where I really don't think like a crypto convention or anything from Trump is actually going to move this market up. And if it does, great, right? But I don't think we need it. I think it's just going to go up regardless.
I mean, what do you think of this structure here, guys? Like, what do you think? Is this time to long this structure right here? You gonna long that?
Looks like a compression breakdown to me.
Looks abysmal. I mean, it looks like the worst chart I've ever seen.
Everybody's trying very hard to call a top. It's like they're obsessed with the idea of calling a top rather than just buying dip. I can't remember the dynamic between those two being as skewed as it is right now. It's like there's so much obsession on my timeline with calling freaking top. It's absolutely crazy. And maybe in hindsight, we look back and it was extremely obviously the top. But I will say when people are not as focused on the dip during an uptrend, there's usually still fuel left in the tank.
We're so far away from the top. We're so far away.
Let me be
maybe the best trader on CT doesn't even think we're halfway to the top. So,
yeah. Me?
Of course.
Let me be
I don't know how to say their name, but you guys know Gallo or Galway Capital.
No.
They were the guys who they'd only taken like 3 trades in their entire fund's history, longing Bitcoin at 3K, Luna trade. I can't remember what the other one was, but they were just like they were on the ball. He doesn't even think we're halfway to the total market cap top.
Tommy, just a heads up, your Wi-Fi is kind of crapping out on you a little bit. I can hear you, but it's pretty fuzzy. The only way this could be the top is if we do this. Then that's the top. Then we've got problems. But like to call it right here, I can't get behind that. I just cannot get behind this. You're floating in no man's land right now. What about this is telling you that this is the top? There's no structural breaks. I'm not seeing any signs of distribution up here. I'm seeing froth, but froth can go on for a long time. So I'm like, what up here is telling you that this is the top? You'd have to see a breakdown, shift of structure, tucked back underneath, then all of this is going to be supply. Then you have problems. But right here, what are you seeing right here that's telling you that this is the top? I don't get it. There's nothing up here that's telling you it's the top. There's no sign that this is the top. You can't just like look at Bitcoin and price discovery and be like top, you know, it like there's nothing technical up here that would be the top. There's nothing on chain that's telling you it's the top. I don't get it.
Something I was going to talk about. And when they say the top, are they talking about like a macro top? Like this is the start of a bear market?
Dude, there are some people that are fully calling top up here, posting the most ridiculous fractals I've ever seen. And here's the thing. There's always a chance they play out, but like you can't, you're just specking it. You're just like throwing out random words and being like, well, we'll just see if we get lucky. Like you haven't seen any structural shifts or anything up here. Nothing.
I mean, just look at like that January to December range. You can see that it had that retest to its previous high before making a reversal, which I mean, granted, it didn't last too long, but that's kind of usually what I look for a quote unquote top. But for a macro top, right? Because I wouldn't call that a macro top. I would call that like a mid to, you know, micro top, whatever. You know, you would point towards like the weekly and see some similar structure to that, right? The market always warns you ahead of time before it actually tops. I mean, just look back to 21 or to 2018. It did it both times. Yeah, we're still far away.
Yeah, we are far away. I don't know. I don't get the urge, man. Like equities look pretty good here. Like, dude, look at the NASDAQ just chatting, bro. Just chatting. Every day, just chatting. Look at the fractal, man. Look at the fractal. What if, you know?
What if?
What if, you know? I don't like what's bearish about this here. What is bearish about this? Taking out all these lows, climbing back into price discovery. I don't get it. Genuinely, I don't get it, but I don't need to get it. It's fine. I'm okay not getting it.
You wouldn't get it.
I would not get it. This is one of those instances where I simply would not get it.
Tommy, I think it's time to talk about Kipchi.
Yeah, we got 2 super chats for it. So,
Tommy, that's your chart, brother.
Oh, you're gonna make me close the drawings I have on this thing.
You don't have to hide your object tree. You
I'm hiding
don't be
the
shy about your
I
object
can't
tree.
give anybody false promises on.
Do you want me? Do you want me to throw up the banner for this is not financial advice?
No, you don't need to do that. I will say I think that people are making a big mistake selling Kipchi here. That they're going to end up regretting it. But that's neither here nor there. I think you had people that probably aped this local high, and they're now getting scared that ETH is showing. I wouldn't even call it weakness. We're basically trading where we were less than 48 hours ago. And they're scared they bought the top, so they're selling, man. There's just like not enough on-chain belief yet for this coin to trend in price discovery. But when this coin makes all-time highs, I don't really know why it's going to be very forgiving to sellers. Like the slow grind ends when this coin enters price discovery. This is a 2.5, almost 3-year range that we're talking about here. And if you know anything about the length of time that we typically spend in compressions and how that translates to price, when that breaks, I mean, you're probably just going to straight line up to $1 billion if we're being honest. But maybe it's not like that. I don't know. Not financial advice. Obviously, it's a $23-24 million market cap coin. But yeah, I think people are really going to regret selling here when we look back here in a few weeks. And I can only talk about this coin so much before I'm sure people get tired of it. But I have full conviction here, especially with ETH, in my opinion, getting ready to move higher, potentially pretty aggressively. Something I was talking to Max about and Ed as well. But I sent a text to Max about it this morning about the possibility that ETH just gaps up from here, which I think people are not really considering as a real possibility. It's all like we forgot to dream as an asset class, man. We really did. We forgot to dream, man. It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna trade and capture this 10% long move. I caught the meat of the move, herder. Yeah, no, you didn't. You probably didn't if you're looking for 10% moves on an asset that's looking to trend. But yeah, that's just what I wanted to say. I mean, you want me to address the chart? I think we're still above the most important pivot on it. We're retesting it. When we break all-time highs, I think it's just going to go straight up vertical. But yeah, people are selling. Unsurprisingly, a lot of betas selling off today and yesterday, and I think they're going to regret it. It's not much more to say than that.
Yeah, they might. I mean, it is a very interesting chart. There's not many small caps that have been around as long that have survived as much as it has. I think that's probably the most compelling part about it, is that it has like 2 full years of price history, and you've had every opportunity to get shaken out. If you've been holding it for a while, it's been like, I mean, minus 90% a few times, I think. So that's interesting, right? Like, I definitely understand the appeal to that. And yeah, if it is going to be correlated to ETH, like, probably should be now, probably should be now.
Yeah, I mean, this monthly RSI, 3-day RSIs, they look insane to me.
It's prime.
I mean, literally, next time you cross into overbought, you don't get any more dips. And I don't have, people are going to be like, oh no, I sold on the tiny little baby pullback on Kipchi. What am I going to do? I can't ape up here. And it's like, well, you're not getting another. Where should I buy, Tommy? You're not going to get one after it goes into price discovery. That's it. The hard work is done. The hard work is chewing through this range and obviously this supply from the end of 2024. I mean, you're seeing other meme coins kind of have the same problem right now, like Pepe. And I do think it's kind of only a matter of time, just waiting for ETH to show you that, I think, next move, which I don't think is down. I'm not going to give a top target, though. I'm not going to give a top target. I think that's I don't want to mislead anybody.
Well, there you have it, guys. There's your Kipchi analysis. Thank you for the super chats. Well, kind of seems like a boring day.
Yeah. I mean, I think ETH is just going to probably chop up for the next few days.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Bitcoin. We might see some weekend play here. It's very prime for something big soon.
You said weekend play. Did I hear you
Yeah.
correctly?
Yeah.
Mm,
I think by Saturday we'll see something happening.
really? Ed, I
mean,
appreciate that.
naturally.
I appreciate that financial advice from you. That's helpful. Thank you.
I'm just a dab, man. They shouldn't listen to me.
Maybe.
Should we look at IWM?
Probably.
It's been ripping.
Probably.
I mean, we're back to 225 on it.
Tommy, the VIX looks like death, brother. You looked at it recently.
Complete trash. Complete trash. I mean, I kind of felt like bears might have had a moment earlier this week. And I mean, look at the way the market's responding on every dip. There's very clearly still an appetite for risk.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that it's weird to me. The interpretation when we look at these charts is, you just saw I would argue one of the most bearish, probably the most bearish catalysts we've had since COVID. Market dropped 20%. And now here we are 3 or 4 months later talking about price discovery on basically everything. So what exactly is the bearish interpretation of that? Especially now considering that two things. They're probably going to cut rates. Whether that brings long end yields down is up for discussion, but they're going to be cutting rates. And then the second thing is growth is also growing. The economy is strong. What is there to be bearish about necessarily about charts and price discovery? Growth is growing, or rather like increasing. When people thought growth was potentially slowing here a few months ago, and now you have rate cuts too.
Mm-hmm.
That's the macro right now. Like, why are you calling for a recession at this point? I don't know. And I was listening to Cem Karsan the other day. Basically, if there is no sell-off at all on equities into like September, then you're probably just going to get a really aggressive rebalancing higher into the end of the year.
I'm fine with that. I'm totally fine with that. Yeah, what do you make of MSTR here, guys? Do you have any thoughts?
I don't know what to think about it. Let me pull up the chart.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really don't know what to make of this. I've never been a huge MicroStrategy fan, though, obviously. There's a part of me that wonders if it's just like, I meant to do Sol. If it's just like doing what Sol did here.
Look at Bitcoin circa 21 and like overlay that. Like that's what to me it looks like.
2021?
Yeah.
You mean like with the topping structure?
Yeah. Just like that. Where it's just kind of like chopping upwards, but there's somewhat of some exhaustion going on. Yeah.
It really looks similar to even the last top in 2021, which I hate to say. I'll show you an example when you're done here, which is I'm very conflicted on it because I see it multiple different ways. But MSTR is very strange to me right here. Do you care if I Tommy the chart from you? I want to show you this quick.
Go for it.
All right. So this is what has me a little bit confused, I will say, is this structure right here on MSTR. It feels like, okay, so here was your all-time high for MSTR. And this time around, you kind of had like your MSTR blow off into here. And what you had last cycle was Bitcoin making a higher high with MSTR making a lower high. And you have the same thing here. However, I feel like the market is in a much different spot, right? Because we were seeing last cycle, we were seeing like, at this top over here, ETH had already ripped and we were having beta start to run, right? So it was like there was a clear rotation that was happening. Where this time around, it's like the beta hasn't even run yet. Like we haven't even had altcoins do anything yet. So I feel like the market as a whole is in a much different spot. And this is why I'm wondering, like, I wonder if we just have, if we're going to have like 2 cycles in one, where we just had like a Bitcoin cycle and now we're about to have like a full blown altcoin cycle. And that will be a different characteristic of previous cycles where it's like there wasn't as like clear of a rotation. And it's almost like there's genuinely 2 cycles, but I hate this divergence here. Like this really spooks me because it feels so damn similar to over here, but it doesn't really align with my bias for where like alts are. Like it feels much earlier in the cycle than before. But that's where I'm wondering if it's just like a more fractured cycle where it's like it was all Bitcoin the first half and now it's going to be all ETH and altcoins the second half or something. So I don't know, but the structure really freaks me out of MicroStrategy here. Like it needs to go on and make a new high. Otherwise, I see some problems. I do. I just don't know what that looks like right now.
Yeah, I can't really be I've consistently said there's just not really a reason for me to be buying MicroStrategy at this point in the cycle when they're basically issuing more and more like token supply in order to buy Bitcoin. Why would you not just buy the underlying asset instead of the thing that's being actively diluted to buy it? I don't know. I'm not a MicroStrategy bull, but I don't have an opinion on the chart. It is a really odd chart. It wouldn't surprise me if it melted up from here or if it's actually topped already. But I really don't think this top is going to be the same as 2021. I truly think that it's going to be the same. This cycle is completely different from 2021 in so many different ways. And I remember in 2021, this is something that I've said before, everybody thought the top was going to look like 2017 to 2018. And they ended up getting caught with their pants down when there was no blow off top and everything nuked to Hades.
Yeah. I don't think it'll be the same either.
You can always just draw like a trend line, I think, on that. Like that to me just looks like a pretty clear up only right now. Naturally, I feel like as long as it continues to respect that, I don't see this topping out. I mean, if it breaks that, then we might have a problem. But really, like you said, with all the catalysts going on, and we are in a different, economy right now, and things are bottomed on every other sector. So while this chart looks like trash, I think it has the potential to melt up. But
I hope it does. I really hope it does. One thing that I think should be studied is this chart, which is MSTR Bitcoin. Like no matter what happens, I think that this chart is topped right here. Like MSTR Bitcoin. I was saying this a while ago. Like I think this is a range, and I think your MSTR outperformance against Bitcoin is done. I think you deviated this low. I think you deviated this high. I think that MSTR Bitcoin is probably actively breaking down right now. which is not bearish for Bitcoin necessarily. It just means like it's better to deploy capital into Bitcoin rather than MSTR here. Like I think that this chart is done. I think that this is moving down. I do not think that MicroStrategy will continue to outperform. I think this is going lower. So Bitcoin could, in theory, Bitcoin can continue to move higher here as this moves down. We could very easily see that happen. I don't know where on the chart we could even find that, but like this kind of move, like Bitcoin moved up pretty hard here as this pair bled. This one, MSTR dropped pretty hard against Bitcoin here, and Bitcoin went from 40 to 70 or 64. But I think that this chart is topped. Like MSTR Bitcoin is. I don't think there's a really strong case for higher. So.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, like nothing will make you more bearish than going over to like the Bitcoin treasury part of Twitter, or just like the MicroStrategy maxi part of Twitter. I don't know if you guys have been over there, but it's just like, God.
I've seen it. Yeah.
The Bitcoin utility, like your idea of Bitcoin utility, they are bastardizing it, right? So I don't know. I hope they underperform Bitcoin. I think they will.
Yeah. I've been over there a few times, unfortunately.
Nothing will make you more bearish than that.
No.
Honestly.
No. I think that this chart is, looking at this feels like this feels like it's about to break higher to me. So
yeah.
We could also chart MSTR against ETH. Take a look at this. I also think that this chart is egregiously topped. Very similar in structure to what we were just talking about. I think that this thing is about to landslide down, which is also
nice,
part of the reason.
Sol ETH chart you got there.
What's that?
It's a nice Sol ETH chart you got there.
But yeah, this is if this chart goes down, then ETH is outperforming MSTR. I think that this thing is going back to range lows. So I don't see the play here with MSTR locally. Then that doesn't mean I'm rooting against Saylor. I'm actually very much so rooting for him, just to be super clear. But I think that this chart should start moving down hard. And last cycle, when it started moving down hard, probably like over here, we'd say this was the big drop. That's when ETH really began to rocket. So you could argue we just kind of had our COVID drop, honestly. So I don't think it's even that far-fetched to suggest that structurally they're somewhat similar, and ETH is about to begin its run. So
yeah. And like Tommy mentioned, why would you buy MSTR if you could just buy Bitcoin, the underlying asset? I think enough people have probably picked up on that. That's exactly what's going on. Bitcoin's performing, MSTR is just kind of lagging for the most part. So
yeah,
that's what's going on. So
it's supposed to be what? Supercharged Bitcoin? I think that's what he said.
Yeah.
That's just
I get that. I understand why he said that. It's just that happens in the first half of the cycle. So I think it's done outperforming. I actually think it's going to be a severe underperformer, but we'll see. Alex says, I want to cook for y'all so bad. You need to have a vetted guest day. Do me a favor. Send me a DM on X. Tell me, I don't know, show me some alpha. As long as we know you have some alpha, you can come on the show. I'd love to have some guests on the show. You got to make sure that you actually have the alpha. So just send me a DM of some charts or like your profile or something, and be like, all right, here's what I can cook on. You know what I mean? And then we'll make it happen. Local MN guy. Oh, really? Really? Okay.
Hey.
Where in Minnesota are you from?
Nice.
Oh man, I think we live close to each other then. All right, you can send me a DM. I live right around there too. Okay. Well, I think that probably takes us into the end of the show. So Snorlax, you wanna send us on our merry way?
Yeah, I think that's it from us, guys. We hope that that you enjoyed the stream. Thank you for coming to an unexpected edition of Market Check today. But yeah, we'll see what we get here into the end of the week. Some pretty nice buyback, I guess, on ETH. We'll see about beta the rest of the week. But yeah, like I said, thanks again for tuning in, guys. We'll be back for another episode tomorrow to finish up the week. We'll be looking forward to that. Reminder as well, next week to check out Ape Time when it returns. That will be on Thursday around the exact same time that we have Market Check. And of course, make sure to tune in as well to Market Talk with King Wabi, which is hosted through our Because Bitcoin X account. So make sure to stay following and subscribe to that account, as well as Wabi, to stay in the why am I having like a complete brain fart right now? To stay in the know about when we're going to schedule those streams and also when they go live. But that's it from us, guys. We hope you enjoyed the stream today. We'll be back for another episode tomorrow, like I said. But until then, thanks again, as always. And of course, stay safe.
Tired of outdated trading tools, confused charts, dozens of tabs, endless stress? You're not alone. Introducing BB Terminal, your all-in-one command center for crypto trading. Track your portfolio, monitor the markets, stay ahead, all in one place. From chaos to clarity, from struggle to success. BB Terminal.